What's up guys, John here, and today I'm going to showcase games, all the games, or most of the games in my Nintendo DS collection. Now, I'm a huge handheld gaming fan. I work a lot of hours and I have, home, work, and there's a lot of places I move around to, so it's nice to have my gaming console with me at all times. That way, if I want to play a game and I'm a gamer, I can get into my game. When the PSP came out, that was huge for me. I had a Game Boy pretty much at launch when I was a kid back in like the late 80s. And when the Nintendo DS first came out, it was in like maybe the early 2000s or whatever. But I remember I was in a Walmart, and I'll tell you guys more of my story, the more you watch my channel. But I was living at the time in St. Mary's County. It was a communal living environment, and I was actually out at the Walmart at the time, the local Walmart, and they announced over this loudspeaker they just got 2 Nintendo DSs in, and I had just got a job and I was working at like some auto body shop. So I ran over to the electronics area inside the Walmart. I got my DS and I was real excited. And I remember the game I got with it was Mario 64 DS. And I don't have those original games that I had first gotten for the DS. And I don't have that original DS. But I do have a DS Lite. And I'd recommend the DS Lite, even though it does have a smaller screen, because you can play Game Boy Advance games on it. But you guys know that. I really recommend to play DS and 3DS games. We're not really talking about the 3DS here, but a 3DS XL is probably the way to go because you get that bigger screen and you can play the full library of DS games. The only thing that this can do that this can't is if you are into Japanese or import games like I am, you're going to need a DS Lite because those import games are not going to run on a new 3DS XL or any of the 3DS systems. So that is a shame, but let's get into the games. Okay, so guys, I don't have this like huge collection, and I got most of these at GameStop used when they blow them out real cheap and, buy 2, get 1 free, and I've always had like some kind of membership at GameStop. So that's how I got a lot of these, and that's how I got a lot of these really cheap, and also at flea markets and stuff like that. I might have bought 1 or 2 of them online, but I can't even remember which ones that is. But anyway, so the first game I'm going to show, and this is card only, I just made some cover art for it. But it's the Mega Man Zero collection. If you guys played any of the Mega Man Zero games on the Game Boy Advance, they're awesome. I think this is 4 games in one, so it's all the Zero games. Definitely worth getting, even card only. So yeah, the Mega Man Zero collection is an awesome game on the DS. Final Fantasy IV. I tried to fix the. It got water damage. The front cover. I mean, the game is fine. Everything's in there, but the front cover art. I heat pressed it to try to fix the paper in the front, and it got cracks around the case, like on the paper. It kind of looks weird. Actually, it looks pretty cool. But yeah, Final Fantasy IV on the DS. Okay, I printed cover art for this too. It's card only, but the Suikoden game on the DS. This is actually a pretty good game if you're in the Suikoden series. This is an import. The only import I actually have for the DS, and it's an RPG. Why I bought it, it was only a couple of dollars. I was at a retro store one day. But I actually bought it because there's repros translated in English of this game, but it's Tales of the Tempest. I bought it just for the case. That way I could get a repro that's translated in English and just stick it right here where this card is. So one day I'll get it. The repro, that is. Okay, we have Dragon Quest IV on the DS. Okay, this is a pretty good game. Valkyrie Profile, Covenant of the Plume. Huge fan of the Valkyrie Profile series. I like the newer games that Tri-Ace made, the Exist Archive and Exist Archive. But this game is really, really hard. If you guys want a challenge, if you guys like wanting to pull your hair out, this is the game to play. Valkyrie Profile, Covenant of the Plume. Awesome game. It's pretty cheap too. Most of these games are like $20 games or less. Another remake, Final Fantasy III. I like what the DS does with a lot of these Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest games. They give them kind of like a 3D look. I believe me, I'd prefer the 2D graphical style and would much rather have originals of all these games. But it's pretty cool how they did this to try to appeal to a newer generation. So you have Final Fantasy III. Here's a shoot 'em up on the system, Astro Boy, the video game. Now I also own this this was released on a lot of different systems. I had this on the Wii, but on and it's a shoot 'em up on the Wii. It's not as good on the Wii. This is a pretty decent shoot 'em up on the DS. So I think I overpaid for this. I paid $8 for this game. This is like a $3 game, probably less than that, but it's a pretty cool shoot 'em up. So look for this, Astro Boy, the video game. This is a series of games. I actually have a couple of them on the Wii, and it's not really my cup of tea, but it is kind of an interesting concept, and that is the Trauma Center series. You pretty much perform like surgeries with like a Wii remote or the touchscreen on the DS. So yeah, it's what you're a doctor, you perform surgery. So interesting, right? This is another Mega Man game. I'm not really too into this series. It's more of a strategy series of Mega Man games. Mega Man, Star Force, Pegasus. There's a few of these that came out. This is just one of them. It's okay. You know, if you got time, this isn't like a jump right in play kind of game. You need to think and do a lot of brain thinking and stuff for this game. So I got a couple more stacks of games, so let's grab another one. Okay, moving right along. So the next game I'm going to have, it's a pretty easy RPG, but it's one I recommend if you're trying to jump in and play RPGs, if you're not really into that genre of games. Magical Star Sign. Easy game, but it's a very colorful game and the character sprites look good, so it's like a $5 game. It's pretty cheap. Okay, here's another one I printed cover art for, and that's Ys Books 1 and 2. Now, I have this on the TurboGrafx CD. I have this on, there's different versions of this game. I have this on the PSP. I got the PSP Ys Books 1 and 2. And I have the DS version, which I recommend. I bought mine at GameStop really cheap. You know, it's card only, but I just made my own cover art and got a box. And, you know, the cover art's cool, and I like having the complete games, but I buy games to play them. I don't buy them to sit on a shelf. So, you know, this is my this is my affordable copy of Ys Books 1 and 2. A complete copy of this, guys, goes for like around $100. And look, I know I don't have like every DS game out there, and I've just a few that I like to play or that look interesting to me, but I don't have money to be kicking out for games like that. So get them at GameStop when they're cheap, or when people trade them in, or if you can find them cheap, any other means, you know, do so. But don't pay $100 for these games. That's crazy. But yeah, that's my copy of Ys Books 1 and 2 on the DS. Okay, here's another cheap game. I don't know what I paid for this. It must have only been a couple of dollars, but Guilty Gear Dust Strikers. Now, this game, it's okay. It's a fighting game on the DS, so I'm not a huge fan of mobile fighting games. Just the controls don't work for me. I need a controller I can kind of pound on more. I can't really pound on a handheld gaming device. But it's cool nonetheless to pick up if you can find it for a couple of dollars, and that is Guilty Gear on the DS. Okay, here is Final Fantasy XII Revenant Wings. I've not played this game yet. I could not tell you if this game is any good. But it's another Final Fantasy game on the DS. You know, this game could be amazing. I don't know. I haven't played it yet. This game's pretty good. Now, this is an interesting game because this game came out kind of like right before the retro video game craze kind of really happened. And that game is Nostalgia. Pretty much it's just like a modern day turn-based RPG, which everyone's making those again today, which is awesome. I love RPGs, but this game did it at a time when retro gaming just started getting, you know, popular again. And I think this game's really cool. I don't know what it goes for now, but it's a really good RPG on the DS, and that is Nostalgia. Okay. This is an RPG I'm not a huge fan of. People praise this game, and it recently came out on the Nintendo Switch. And that is The World Ends With You. I do not dig the art style of this game. You know, this might be your favorite game, and I'm sorry if I offend you. I'm not trying to badmouth this game. This game really wasn't for me. It uses the touchscreen in very interesting ways, I guess you'd say. But that's not really for me. It's okay. It's a cheap game. I think it was under $20 for this, so. I do recommend this game because I feel like others will like this a lot more than me, but that is The World Ends With You, and it did recently come out on the Nintendo Switch, I do believe. Okay, so this next game is another good game. It's kind of easy, so it's another good game for children, but if you want to get into action RPGs, I would recommend this to you, and that is Children of Mana. There's many games in the Mana series that started on the Super Nintendo, from what I understand. There's been releases on, you know, the PS2, the DS. There's many Mana games. You know, this is one of the good ones, just like the one on the PS1 and the Super Nintendo. It's a cheap game. It's under $20, and I totally recommend it. And it's Children of Mana on the DS. I don't know if any of you guys played any of the Golden Sun games on the Game Boy Advance, but they're pretty awesome RPGs. And the one that came out on the DS is awesome too, and that is Golden Sun Dark Dawn, another cheap game that's awesome. It's a good RPG. Play this game. This game gets a lot of criticism, and I understand why. And I'm a huge fan of the Lunar series. It's one of the reasons I still buy video games to this day. But Lunar Dragon Song on the DS was kind of whack. I don't think it's as bad as everyone made it out to be, but the fact that you lose HP from running kind of sucks. And when you battle your enemies, you can't pick who you're focusing your attacks on. That kind of sucks. But other than that, if you can find this game for a couple of dollars, I mean, it's a game in the Lunar series, so just from the name alone, it's worth me picking up. This game I got did not come with the CD it says it does, but it's a strategy RPG, and I really was into this game. I played it and loved it, and that is Luminous Arc 2. I do not own Luminous Arc 1, but I can recommend Luminous Arc 2, and it's like a $20 type of game. Pretty good. It's a pretty good strategy RPG on the DS. And another game, I bought this when it first came out on the DS because I wanted to play Chrono Trigger and I didn't feel like buying a Super Nintendo cart. And I like playing things on original hardware. And that was Chrono Trigger on the DS. I remember I bought this brand new for 25 bucks. And it probably goes for around that now, maybe 30 or something. I don't know. But I would say this is the definitive version of Chrono Trigger to play. And I've heard that from other people. But, you know, those other people are right. And, you know, I thought the same thing. You know, you get all the cutscenes you did on the Chrono Trigger, the PS1 version of Chrono Trigger. You don't have to deal with any of those crazy load times. So they should bring this version to the PS4. I feel like that would be awesome. Or sell at least a download or something. But, yeah, Chrono Trigger, the definitive version on the DS. Okay, so these last few games I'm going to show you are complete with a box. They're like collector's editions with like a soundtrack, and that's pretty much it. Maybe a small art book. So the first game is a game I actually have a version of on the 3DS. And if you like games like Chrono Trigger that deal with time travel in a very interesting and fun way, then you'll like this game, Radiant Historia. All I'm going to say, if you're a fan of Chrono Trigger, this game is right up there. The story's good. The way it deals with time travel is excellent. And there's a version of it that's probably... This game went up in price for a little while. Then they reprinted it, I think, and it went down in price. But... you know, whether you get it on the DS or the 3DS, it's an awesome game. But Radiant Historia, I think the 3DS version is Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology or something like that. Okay, next game I have in the box that came in a cardboard box with a soundtrack, Solitarobo Red the Hunter. So if you played, there's a PS1 game, it's kind of expensive, it's like Tail Concerto. This is considered a spiritual successor to that game because it's not really a sequel. But it's pretty cool. It's an action RPG. You're in a mech suit. You throw things at enemies. You know, it's kind of like Misadventures of Tron Bond, kind of. Not really, but a little bit. But yeah, fun game. It's kind of pricey though. It goes for over $100 now. It's crazy what some of these retro games go for. It's not even that old of a game, but okay. So this last game I'm going to show you is the one I'm excited about. It's actually not the last game I'm going to show you. It's the last game I'm going to show you that's in a cardboard box. And I'm really proud of this because I found it for a really good deal. It's in really good condition. The box is like really crisp, and I made a little clear protective holder for this thing. And that is Super Robot Taisen OG Endless Frontier. OG Saga Endless Frontier. Now, this is not like any of the other Robot Taisen games that you might have played. If you played any of the Robot Taisen games for... we didn't get that many over here in the US, but if you played any of the Robot Taisen games that came out on the Game Boy Advance... like original generation 1 and 2. It's funny, I met someone today and we were talking, and I didn't know he even knew about video games, and we were talking about Robot Taisen, and he's like, oh yeah, original generation 1 and 2. I'm like, who the hell knows about those games? It was crazy. But yeah, this is an awesome turn-based, timing-based RPG. The main character is this guy, Hawken Browning. He's a total badass. You know, you got Cosmos from Xenosaga in here. I mean, the characters in this are really good. If you like Cosmic Star Heroine, if you were like me, I love Cosmic Star Heroine. If you're a fan of Cosmic Star Heroine, you owe it to yourself to play Super Robot Taisen OG Endless Frontier. It is that good. This is like one of my top 5 RPGs of all time. It's that good. Like, this is an amazing RPG. You want to play it. Now, I got a few loose cart games I'm going to show you, but one of them is I got an extra copy of Robot Ties, and I found this at a GameStop one day. And, you know, when I find games like this, I want to rescue them because, you know, one of you guys might want this game. So I have an extra copy if anyone really wants it. You know, it's card only, unfortunately, but, you know, a few card only games that I've acquired. You know, I don't have too many. You know, I don't have to be a complete unbox guy, but when I see these games pretty cheap, I pick them up. So here we have Spectral Force Genesis. We have Devil Survivor 1 and 2. Now, these are some RPGs on the DS that are insanely difficult. So, I mean, if you know about the Shin Megami Tensei games, you know they're difficult. But yeah, these ones are pretty, they'll beat you down, man. And we have a couple of Castlevania games on the DS. Let's see, we have Dawn of Sorrow. I wish I had the cases for some of these. And Order of Ecclesia, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Castlevania, the Order of Ecclesia. I probably mispronounced that, but yeah, these Castlevania DS games are badass. They got like anime cutscenes and stuff. And okay, so this is the reason why I bought a DS Lite years ago, and that is Mario Kart DS. I've probably had this DS game longer than any of them. No case or anything, and I haven't played this game in many years. But yeah, Mario Kart on the DS it's the stuff, man. Yeah, it's weird. I got like no like AAA titles or nothing like that, but I got this one Mario Kart game. But you know, I'm interested to know, you know, what do you guys have in your DS collection? What are you passionate about? I mean, me personally, I wish more shoot 'em ups would have came out on the system. Now, I know shoot 'em ups are a game you don't really want to play a handheld shoot 'em up, but you know, I'm just such a huge shoot 'em up fan. I wish more shoot 'em ups would have came out on the system. But, you know, I know there's really not a lot of money in, you know, shoot 'em ups on handheld devices. If you want to play a shoot 'em up mobile, you know, download one off the App Store or something. But anyway, I want to know, what do you have in your collection? Let me know in the comments down below. And I love finding out about new games, stuff that blows my mind and I discover and find it for a good deal. I love that kind of stuff. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Now, remember to like this video. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Until next time, peace out.